Hello everyone. Welcome to the final presentation for today, Operation BlackEcho. In this presentation, we will talk about voice phishing using fake financial and vaccine apps. If you have any questions during the presentation, please ask us via Slido. We will try to answer them as much as we can. My name is Hye-ji Ho, and I am a security researcher at a Financial Security Institute in South Korea. I was responsible for analyzing and responding to Android malicious apps. My co-speaker, Sung-chan Jang, also a security researcher at FSI, and he was responsible for detecting and responding to phishing sites. We have contributors Kwi-ju Kim, Jin Yong-byun, and Byung-woo Hwang. They are also our co-workers, and they have researched the malicious apps and infrastructure together. Our presentation has 8 chapters. I will present chapter 1 to 4 about Operation BlackEcho, and Sung-chan Jang will present chapter 5 to 8 about voice phishing. Let's start with the background of Operation BlackEcho. Voice phishing is a crime where scammers trick people over the phone to get money or personal information. According to Korean National Police Agency, in South Korea, the number of voice phishing cases has steadily decreased since 2019. However, the damage amount per case is still very high. In 2024, it reached almost 40 million Korean won, which is about $27,000 US. The main themes of these voice phishing cases are loan fraud and impersonating government agencies. Malicious apps play a crucial role in voice phishing attacks on smartphone users. Therefore, in FSI, we hunt, analyze, and respond to malicious apps. Recently, we discovered a new type of malicious app. The malicious app separates its functions into another app and installs it. This pretends to be a legitimate financial app that requires a vaccine, as known as an antivirus app. For your information, in South Korea, it is recommended to use an antivirus app for mobile transactions. So we thought that financial consumers could be easily exposed to this threat. Therefore, we began researching these malicious apps. The criminal organization of BlackEcho distributes a fake financial app. When a victim runs it, the app installs a fake vaccine app for voice phishing and other attacks. The organization also uses apps that impersonate government agencies for voice phishing and has even started creating smishing apps. We named this operation Black plus Echo. Black is from the C2 server homepage, and Echo comes from the characteristics that a single malicious app installed by a victim returns as increasingly larger attacks, such as voice phishing, much like an echo. The attack flow of BlackEcho is as follows. We divided the attack flow into 3 steps: malicious app distribution, attacks, and financial fraud. The criminal organization advertises loans through social media service platforms. If a victim applies for a loan consultation, the attacker consults with the victim and distributes a fake financial app. After the victim installs the fake apps, the attacker launches attacks such as remote control, data theft, and voice phishing to request money in the form of a loan application fee or to repay existing loans. During this process, infrastructure, including a C2 server, is used. Finally, the victim of voice phishing transfers or withdraws money, and the attacker takes money from the victim. Additionally, the attacker can remotely control the victim's smartphone or activate a new phone using personal information stolen from the victim. This can lead to transactions in the victim's name. Now, I will discuss the malicious apps and infrastructure in Chapter 3 and 4. After that, my co-speaker will present on voice phishing, countermeasure, and trend. In this chapter, I will explain malicious apps, including their types, functions, and changes. We monitored around 900 apps for a year and found that they have evolved steadily over time. We estimate that malicious apps first appeared in late 2021, and they have separated into two apps based on their functionality from 2022. The first app, which has a financial or government themes, installs the second apps and steals personal information. The second app, which has a vaccine theme, launches attacks, including voice phishing. From July 2023, the second app was further divided into two apps: the second call app for voice phishing and the second main app for command execution, such as remote control, streaming, and data thief. On the next page, I will explain the malicious apps in two main types, the first app and the second app. After that, I will introduce their key features. The first app looks like a financial company's app, but it installs the additional apps for voice phishing and steals personal information. It also abuses accessibility service to enable apps permission and install additional apps without victim's consent. Let me explain the first step in more detail. The first step displays screens to make the victim believe it is a financial or government app. The display method has changed in three ways. Firstly, it uses local HTML, which shows HTML files contained within the app. Secondly, layout, which is a common technique used on Android. Thirdly, it makes and accesses to external phishing pages. In the case of local HTML, the app contains all the files and selects one of them to display. The directory name represents the keyword of financial companies and government agencies. For example, CCI refers to cybercrime investigation, and CU refers to credit union. Next, the first step installs additional apps, and the installation method has changed from drop to download. In the drop method, the first step acts as a dropper, installing the second app, which is contained within the app. However, if the contained app is changed, the first step must be modified and redistributed. In the download method, the first step acts as a downloader, which is downloading additional apps from an external server. This can solve the problem with the drop method. Finally, the first step steals personal information, such as name, phone number, social number, and even copy of ID card by pretending to offer loan applications. As you can see on the right side of the screen, there are default values for name, phone number, and social number. These values are appeared in multiple versions of the first app. Next is the second app. It launches attacks as directed by the attacker and voice phishing. It sets itself as a default call app for voice phishing and allows itself to run in background to process commands from the attacker continuously. This is also done without the victim's consent by abusing the accessibility service. The second app handles over 50 commands. After the second app was separated into two apps, the second call app handles commands related to voice phishing, call, and text message. Meanwhile, the second main app handles other commands such as streaming, remote control, and data thief. The second apps use custom intent to handle commands. Intent is an object used to communicate between Android components such as activity and service. I will explain this with an example. The attacker sends commands and parameters to the app through a socket. In the app, socket service receives them. For example, the command is send SMS. And the socket service sends a custom intent with parameters to other services. In this case, SMS service receives them. Finally, SMS service handles the commands. It sends a text message using parameters, and then it sends the result of the command to the C2 server. Another main purpose of the C2 second app and the second call app is voice phishing. There are three types of voice phishing. First, outgoing call, first, incoming call, and blocking incoming call, also known as blacklist. The detailed process will be introduced later. The malicious apps prepare three things for voice phishing: screens, ARS files, and phone numbers. Below are screens for dial, contact, and call functions. The malicious apps use them to act as the default call app and voice phishing. Next is ARS files. 93 files are compressed and stored in the assets directory. Then, the app maps over 300 phone numbers with the ARS files and saves them to the database. If the victim makes a call, the app plays an ARS file mapped with the outgoing call number. For example, if the victim calls to 1577-5511, the app plays a.k.a. MP3 file. This chart shows classification of phone numbers mapped with the ARS files. Over 70% of phone numbers belong to second financial sector, which includes saving banks, insurance companies, credit card companies, and others. And next, lending companies, banks, and government agencies related to finance and tax follow. Third is phone numbers for intercepting or blocking calls. First of all, the malicious app has an app ID and an app name. The app ID is an app identifier, and the app name is a keyword of financial companies or government agencies that the app impersonates. And the criminal organization has subgroups called 총판, which means exclusive distributor, and 매장, which means shop. Then the subgroup's name is mapped with the app ID. So, if the victim is infected by an app whose app ID is 매장 35, the victim will receive voice phishing from the attacker under the subgroup 매장 35. Here are some examples of phone numbers used for voice phishing. The malicious apps send the app ID to the C2 server to request phone numbers. Then the C2 server sends phone numbers for intercepting or blocking calls with attacker's phone number. In this case, if a victim makes a call with Visa card number, the malicious app intercepts it to the attacker, who pretends to be a Visa card employee. The app also blocks the call from financial supervisory service, preventing the victim from reporting the voice phishing. And I will briefly introduce 3 common features of malicious apps: update statistics, packer, and keyword. We made this chart using the time information of collected malicious apps. And they show that malicious app updates were frequently made on weekdays between 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. It appears that the criminal organization operates during office hours. Commercial packers are applied to malicious apps to hinder analysis by concealing and obfuscating their main code. There are 2 packers, Dex Protector and App Stealing. Dex Protector was applied to over 50% of the apps throughout the entire period, while App Stealing was used in about 10% during first 5 months of 2024. These are commonly used keywords. Who is used to refer to the second app, because the second app used to impersonate a phishing detection app, which is called Who. And PECJO is used in the app package name, certificate, custom intent, and so on. Now, I will introduce the server that makes up the infrastructure and their roles. The criminal organization of BlackEcho doesn't rely on just one C2 server to do everything. It constructs its infrastructure with 6 servers, each performing a specific role. These servers distribute malicious apps, steal personal information, provide addresses of other servers, and launch attacks. Let me explain them in more detail. First, the landing page. The landing page tricks victims into downloading the first app. It looks identical to the Google Play, so this can trick victims into thinking the app is official. Second, the distribution server. The criminal organization used various ways to distribute malicious apps. Initially, it used C2 server. After 2023, it used file sharing services like Catbox and GoFile. And for a while, it utilized hosting service called .home. After July 2024, it established its own distribution server. Third, the phishing page server. Phishing pages are used to steal personal information and are designed to look identical to the official home pages of financial companies or government agencies. Below is an example of a phishing page for Visa card, which includes a user information inquiry menu not found on the official homepage. That menu has sub-menus. These require personal information to retrieve card data and apply for a virtual account. However, if the victim inputs his or her information here, it is sent to the attacker. These 3 servers are directly or indirectly accessed by the victim, so their addresses are visible to the victim and found in plain text. On the screen, you can see the example of addresses. They are provided by the attacker, C2 server, and malicious apps. In these addresses, keywords and epoch time are used. The keywords represent financial companies or government agencies that the malicious app impersonates. For example, IBK refers to Industrial Bank of Korea and Korea. The epoch time, which is a numeric representation of time, can be used to estimate the distribution of the malicious app. And these are remaining servers. The discovery server provides addresses for the C2 and the streaming server. The C2 server interacts with the malicious apps. And it issues commands and provides phone numbers for voice phishing. And it takes command results and stolen data from the smartphone. The streaming server streams the smartphone's camera, microphone, and screen. These three servers are accessed by malicious apps without the victim's knowledge. So the attacker encodes the addresses to conceal them. As in the first example, the address of discovery server is embedded in the malicious apps. When you access this server, you will find values A01, B05, and A07, which are for the C2 server, streaming server, and an alternative discovery server. The decoding algorithm which uses base 64 and XOR is also embedded in the malicious apps. These are the decoded results. The criminal organization takes measures to prevent its servers from being detected and blocked. It uses multiple discovery servers and dynamically updates the addresses of the C2 and streaming server. This means there is no need to modify and redistribute the malicious apps when the addresses are changed. The criminal organization built its infrastructure using Cloudflare. Cloudflare provides a content delivery network and proxy services. The criminal organization abuses Cloudflare's proxy and tunneling features to conceal its servers, evade detection, and sustain its malicious activities. My presentation is concluded here, and my co-speaker will proceed to present about voice phishing.
Hi, I am Songchan Jiang, and I'm here for the next half this presentation. I'd like to talk about how voice phishing crime are carried out using voice phishing app, including Operation BlackEcho. There are several stages of voice phishing crime. There are many ways to categorize them, but I broke them down into 5 stages. Criminal was used spam messaging, Facebook, and Instagram ad to lure victims. These lure are often financial products, such as the one on the right picture, that attract the victim by emphasizing that they are very good deal and limited edition. In worst case, criminal target specific victim through personal information purchased via Telegram. In the case of financial company, impersonation crimes, a business card or employee ID is sent to victim, and victims slowly begin to trust the criminal. These victims are in urgent need of money or unaware of voice phishing. And during the conversation with criminal, they are asked for a sensitive and personal document, similar to what you provide at a bank counter. Finally, the victim is asked to install a banking or a loan application app in order to proceed with the loan. From psychology point of view, criminals use various techniques to deceive victims. The first is to press the victim by impersonating social position, such as prosecutor or a policeman. If you are an innocent person being executed of financial crime, who is disguising prosecutor can put a lot of pressure on you. Secondly, time pressure are used to pressure victim into making quick decisions. This is similar to the time taking marketing strategy. The victim is forced to make a hasty decision out of impatience. Finally, criminals isolate the victim psychologically. The criminal instruct the victim to never contact anyone. Borrowing money through mobile app is very common in Korea. Many financial companies provide service through mobile app with many methods available. I think this is one of the reasons why voice phishing apps are so popular in Korea. The download page is made to look like a real financial company website or Google Play Store in order to gain the victim trust. Once the malicious app is installed, the victim is under the control of the criminal. The victim's contacts, SMS, call log are taken over and control calling function, such as Look Udi, is all under my control. The criminal take control of the victim device from the control server. This is an example of the main screen of control server. It can be divided into two parts. The upper part is screen that monitor the history of the victim's call in real time. The lower part is infected device control menu. Let's zoom in more. The most important part of this screen is the arrow in the top center. This is the control type. Different color mean different control. Firstly, the red arrow is a call log with control call incoming to the victim. Green arrow mean a normal call log. The blue arrow is call log that control call from the victim device to someone else. Lastly, black arrow means the call was blocked. This first outgoing call, blue arrow, this is when a victim call to a financial company, customer service center, or a family are intercepted. When an outbound call is made, the call is terminated and instantly new call is forwarded to the criminal. In particular, when you call a financial company customer service center, an ARS is created to create the illusion that you are really connected to the customer service center. This is a first incoming call, red arrow. If the criminal call the victim, it will appear as police or a finance company, not the criminal number. After call and call log are alternate information. Once the malicious app is installed, everything on the victim is monitored. Thus, victim become psychologically isolated and under the control of the criminal. The final stage, criminal utilize the victim device GPS info for send a cash collector. Criminal typically recruit high-paying part-time worker as cash collector. Criminal organizations have prepared many scenarios to carry out their crimes. Then how can you combat voice phishing? In this chapter, I will share with you how we are combating voice phishing. We utilize a phishing detection system and sharing system to respond to phishing crime. including voice phishing. The sequence of steps is called the phishing curse chain. Firstly, detect phishing sites by monitoring IP addresses that are used by voice phishing criminals to distribute phishing sites. Additionally, we utilize intelligence services such as URL scan IO and criminal IP to gather information about phishing sites. And next, we gather basic information about the detected phishing site. In the case of distributing voice phishing app, we extract basic information about the app and control server information and fake phone number. Finally, if it is identified as a phishing site, it is shared with financial company and security companies. Then the phishing is reported to KISA. KISA is a public organization in charge of information security in Korea. After KISA review, it will be forwarded to Korean ISP to block the people access. In addition to us, there are efforts being made in Korea to combat voice phishing crime across multiple industries. Government has created voice phishing crime TF, and police and financial companies are trying to fight both crimes. As a result, voice phishing has become high risk, low return business in Korea. There are efforts to combat with voice phishing, so phishing trends are changing. In this chapter, I will talk about this trend. As many countermeasures have been launched against voice phishing crimes, criminal organizations have shifted to other phishing business models. This situation is called the balloon effect. Criminal organizations have moved on to smishing and second-hand platform fraud, which are still less regulated. In the picture on the right, we can see traces of preparation for smishing crime in BlackEcho. South Korea has a very high smartphone utilization rate. For this reason, it is possible to conduct various financial activity with smartphone. Due to this feature, there are many crime target smartphone. Smishing and second-hand platform phishing are characterized by low investment cost and relatively weak regulations. Smishing is one of the most globally recognized phishing crimes. In Korea, smishing is also a hot topic. It varied a wide variety of styles. Recently, it expected to include, for example, holiday pocket money, wedding invitation, and traffic tickets. In the early days, the URL in smishing messaging contained the phishing site address. But today, criminals use a shortened URL service to avoid block SMS as much as possible. The site address is composed of familiar keywords such as GOV, KOR, etc., and the UI also modernized to fit the mobile environment. Second-hand phishing send victim to phishing site that look like Naver Pay, which is popular pay service in Korea. It asks for a cash deposit under guise of a secure payment, and after the deposit, it asks for additional cash deposit such as deposit error fee error. Because of sunk cost, the victim is forced to continue to deposit money. As you can see, phishing crime, including voice phishing, are constantly evolving. Here, what we'd like to share with everyone. What can we do to stop this ever-changing phishing crime? First, public people should be cautioned downloading unknown app and accessing URL address. Law enforcement and financial company need to share information. Much what is written here is probably already known to you. It's a boring fight, but you know too that it's something you need to doing. For more information on the BlackEcho we talked about today, you can download the QR code here. Let's summarize the key points. Malicious apps are becoming increasingly sophisticated, so security researchers must enhance their skill to keep pace. Companies and agencies should identify potential threats and respond accordingly. For financial consumer, learning about crime case can help strengthen defenses against financial fraud. In conclusion, cybersecurity is a shared responsibility altogether. By working together and staying informed, we can create more safe digital world. Thank you for attending this presentation, and we also appreciate the organizer for inviting us. If question, sending Slido message and sending email to me. Yeah. Thank you.